All right, you guys, let's take a look at what your assignment is going to be today. But I want to kind of go back a bit and just kind of refresh our memories what this lesson is all about. So, lesson 5, the investigative question is the gas from the gas bomb flammable and denser than air? So we looked at a few investigations to help us determine if our gas is flammable. Did it extinguish a flame or not? And is it denser than air or is it lighter than air? Remember, we're trying to figure out and identify what the actual gas is in the bath bomb. We know it came from the ingredients in the bath bomb in the water, but now we're trying to identify what the actual gas is. So you looked at a video of the density of helium, and we found that the density of helium is lighter than air. It rises. It had to be below the match in order to extinguish it because it was rising to extinguish that match. So it's lighter than air. Then when we looked at the gas in the bath bomb, we kind of looked at the same thing, and we found that the flame was below the bottle and was extinguished. So that means the gas had to sink to blow out the candle. So we're highlighting the word more. The gas in the bath bomb is more dense than air because it had to sink in order to extinguish the flame. All right, so then the other property that we can look at when trying to identify the gas in the bath bomb is flammability, the ability to burn. So we look at helium and air kind of as our control to compare to the gas in the bath bomb. And when air came in contact with the match, the flame, it stayed lit. What this means that air just allows fire to exist. Okay? And you have everyday experience with that. Helium, when it came into contact with the match in the match was extinguished. The flame went out. What this means is that helium is not flammable. So its property of flammability is not flammable. Okay, so looking at those two gases, we can now compare that to the gas in the bath bomb. We found that when we took the gas from the bath bomb and exposed it to a flame, the match did extinguish, just like the helium did. So the gas from the bath bomb does extinguish a flame, meaning it is not flammable. All right, so those two properties are going to help us identify some gases that the gas in the bath bomb could be. So we have all of these gases. Substances in row A through I are all these gases: nitrogen, oxygen, argon, carbon dioxide, neon, helium, methane, hydrogen, propane, carbon monoxide. But the last row, letter J, air, is a mixture. And we know that because it's made up of a whole bunch of different gases, the ones that are listed here. So air is a mixture, all of these others is a substance. Okay, this just gives us the approximate percentage of this particular gas that's in the air or in our atmosphere. Nitrogen is the most abundant gas in our atmosphere. It is the largest molecule, so it takes up the most volume in our air. And then we have oxygen at 21%, making up our air, and then all of these other what we call trace gases in the atmosphere. They don't make up a whole lot of our gases in the atmosphere. Then the boiling point, so that's another property of these gases. At which point, at which degree Celsius does it boil? And so that's given here. The last two columns are the ones that we are going to look at because we already know something about density of our gas in the bath bomb, and we know if it's flammable or not. Okay, we know that the gas in the bath bomb does extinguish a flame. Okay, so what we're going to do is compare the gas in the bath bomb to air. We know from the previous investigation that the gas in the bath bomb sinks, and so it is denser than air. Air's density is about 1.160 grams per liter. Okay, And it's about that because at any given sample of air, it could be more or less of some of these others. So we don't have an exact measure, but that's its average, about 1.160 grams per liter. So what we're going to look for in identifying the gas in the bath bomb are the ones that are more dense than air. So you take a look at these numbers and find the ones that are more dense than 1.160, bigger than that number. You also have to look at its flammability. It may be more dense than air, but does it also extinguish a flame? Because that's the other property that our gas in the bath bomb has, is that it is not flammable. It will extinguish a flame. Okay? So if we look at something like methane, okay? Methane has a density less than air, and it does not extinguish a flame. In fact, it will increase a flame. It can create an explosion. So, methane, just by looking at these two properties, cannot be the gas in the bath bomb. It doesn't have the right properties. Okay, so the next slide is now putting the gases from the previous slide into this chart as either gas it could be or gas it cannot be. Methane would go in the column gas it cannot be. It doesn't have the right density and it does not extinguish a flame. So methane would be the first one we could type in gas it cannot be. Okay, you have 10 gases, including air. You might not be filling in all of these spaces in both columns. Okay, maybe you'll only have a few over here and many of them over here, or maybe you'll have just a few over here and more gases that it could be over here. So don't worry about filling out all of these spaces. Okay, all right. I think that's it in trying to identify the gases that it could be. So you're going to take a look at this chart, take a look at the densities of the materials, of the substances, and the flammability. Don't worry about including air in the chart. Air does not have to be in the chart, okay? All right. The most important ones are making sure that you've placed all of the gases it could be. Okay, that's the most important part of doing the next slide, is making sure that you have placed all of the gases it could be in the chart. Okay. All right. After that, you have another assignment in Google Classroom. You're going to do the claim evidence and reasoning for this lesson, and that is in Google Classroom.